it's a different beast when you have the more responsibility
Yeah.
in front of you and like more to balance.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and even I have to like, man, you know, now that I'm retired and like I'm lucky enough, like because we homeschool, and I'm not in the position where like I like absolutely have to go out there,
Yeah.
and go back to a normal 9 to 5 or whatever. And I'm able to like have this weird predicament where I have to figure out how to balance hopefully a growing photography career and journey with my family too.
Yeah.
So, and it's a good problem to have, but it's still something that you know, and it's just like anything else, man. You have to like continue to try to like.
What up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode here on the JDG podcast with host me, Jimmy Dukes. And we're here sitting next to this handsome fella, dope mofo, Mr.
Man, I'm already having a lot of fun, bro.
We just started. This is dope. Right? It's dope, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming over, man.
Thanks for having me.
We were just kind of chopping up and bullshitting before we started recording.
Yeah, we were like, we got to be quiet because we're getting all the good shit out of it.
I know, man. That's cool. And that's cool because like we're getting to know each other more and more. Yeah. And I think every time we've been around each other, it's kind of like we've gotten to know a little bit more.
Yeah.
And just building that friendship that, you know, and relationship of not only just with the whole, you know, what we're going to get into with photography stuff and like events and things like that, man. But thank you so much for coming on, bro.
Thanks for having me. Absolutely.
Hell yeah, man. And one of the first things I always like to do when I sit down with somebody, I was like kind of tell the story how I met the person, you know what I mean? And
it wasn't on Tinder.
Yeah, right. It was not this time and shit, right? But it was like, it was cool because it was like, that was, we met at CFC 2 official, right? CFC 2 officially. And that was what I already had done like 2 or 3 events, like being a videographer. And I'm still learning to kind of do all that shit at that time. I'm still learning now. But
always learning.
I got there and you were there with your wife, right? And you had your camera stuff and we just said, hey, you're here. Hey, what's up? My name's Jimmy and shit like that.
Yep.
And you were like, yeah, this is my first event. I was like, yeah, this is my first like big event. You know what I mean? So that was like cool because like we were both there to kind of do our own thing in different ways.
Yeah.
And here we are, you know, a couple months later, still keeping in touch, seeing each other at different events and stuff like that, man. So hell yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a first for me. And, you know, like you said, especially for that size of event, that type of event. And then just like being in that situation where you're like, okay, I found myself here with the camera.
Yeah.
And now I have like the golden ticket or the key.
Yeah.
So let me just like have free reign.
Yes.
And then we're just like, you know, I'll like stop and look at you or look at one of the other photographers and we're all just like,
hey, what's up? This dope.
Yeah.
I know, man, because there was like so much shit going on. You know, shout out to CFC. They put on a great event.
Absolutely.
And
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, man, it was cool just to, you know, be able to just walk around anywhere, first of all.
Yeah.
And then just the production level and then just all the fighters. And then.
And the other thing is too, is like now, because we were both in, you know, jujitsu or martial arts and like I've never seen the behind the scenes of like a fight or even just an event of that size, but then going in the warm up tents and watching the fighters warm up and you can like feel the energy, you can feel the vibe. Like it's electrifying.
Yeah.
When you're beside the ring, like
people are yelling and
yelling, listening to people get hit, you know, listening to people fall. Like, it's intense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure
that was cool. That was a good first experience.
Like,
yeah, bro. Because I was even like doing like the mic'd up stuff. I had headphones in. I'm watching a corner.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to, you know, a corner talking to their fighter and dude, it's.
And you're just soaking everything.
Yeah, dude. It was, and it freaking flew by so fast.
Yeah. Man, I don't even know how long think we were there from like what? No, I was there from about 4 until
I think
11.
we showed about around the same time. I think, I got
honestly,
home like around 12.
Once they let us in,
Yeah,
and they gave us the media passes, and we just started doing our stuff.
Yeah.
Holy.
Yeah, it was dope, man.
Super
And that's
fast.
cool, man. And then we've crossed paths at other events too. And you've done things on your own and things like that. So we're going to get into, why we have you here, man. So like I said, appreciate your time. You're a freelance photographer, and you've been really getting in on it lately. Like I personally like your style as far as like you have a wide range of things that you like to cover. Obviously, we like combat sports and shit like that, but you do all different types of things. But what led you to wanting to pursue like the whole freelance world of photography, or how'd you get into photography, initially?
Honestly, like it could be, I could turn that into like a super long drawn out thing, but I mean, I've always loved pictures, doing photography, but I never really was into it like outside of just like hobbyists. And I mean, being in the military and traveling, and then my kids and having a family and stuff, it was more or less like doing stuff for the kids, or when we went hiking or traveling or something. And then, really more or less in like the last year and a half, 2 years after I retired, I mean, I wasn't planning on retiring and being a freelance photographer. Like I bought my current camera. Like I bought that maybe 6 months after I got retired, after I was already out. So, and it was just something I was like really just wanting to get into because, I enjoy like the creative side of it. I enjoy like hiking and doing all kinds of different things. And for me, like being able to capture that is, I have a horrible memory as it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So taking pictures helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, when I'm like in a nursing home or whatever, I'll probably just have like a million photos everywhere.
Hell yeah.
But, so, I mean, there definitely wasn't like a instant or a beginning like desire to be a freelance. And then after I retired, and I mean, even still now, like it's absolutely like a constantly evolving process. And like, figuring out to be like, oh, okay, I want to do, at one point I was like, I want to be like a adventure photographer, which I would still love to do that. But I was kind of like, okay, what do I need to do and this and that, and like looking at the gear and looking at like how to better like my outdoor photography and stuff. But now it's like you said, I like pretty much shooting anything I can get my camera in front of. And the biggest thing is like, if I'm taking pictures of it, like me just being there in general, like I want to be there.
Yeah.
I'm dedicating my time to be there. So that's like the biggest thing. And then if I'm like naturally drawn to it, if I feel like any kind of creative like interest, whatever it is, then I'm game for it. So, but once I like realized that, I'm like, I don't really have like a niche.
Yeah.
Like I think, but I like doing everything.
Yeah.
I like seeing like, I've done XYZ, but I've never shot a circus.
Yeah.
And like, okay, let's see how this shit goes. Like,
Yeah.
And then you're like, all right, it
Hell
actually
yeah.
came out pretty awesome.
yeah.
Okay. So I think like the freelance part of that is, when I, after being in the military for 18 and a half years, like it's a hard pill to swallow for me to want to go back and work for someone else. I really want to be my own boss and have that maintain that flexibility and be like, what, I call the shots when I work, when I'm with my family and stuff like that. So, and I think like, I'm hoping that me being not cornering myself, so to speak, and continuing to like do whatever I can, hopefully that kind of like leads into that, so,
Yeah, no, but I like the one thing that I've gotten to know you a little bit over the past couple months, but all of our interactions have been, positive and stuff like that. I love how realistic you are with yourself and your work and your work ethic. I like that because I was the same thing too, man. I would just I starting creating content, doing the video games and podcasting, and then just unboxing and reviews on YouTube, and I just was like, fuck it, try this, try that.
absolutely.
And I felt like with grabbing all that stuff, I've gotten better as a creator overall.
Because no matter what you're doing, you're still putting in the reps.
Yeah.
Like you're still focusing on your craft or your art, like whether it's the workflow or like how to use the camera or whatever. So it doesn't matter if it's a podcast or if it's being out there, if you're still doing the same thing.
Yeah.
You're working on it. You're getting better. So.
And that's the thing too, is like, I feel like being creative in different fields in different ways makes you better overall.
Yeah.
And cause I could focus on one thing, but for me as myself, I like being able to just do things when I want to, I want to. I mean, obviously when hopefully with, the progress that I've gone or whatever, is like, eventually I can get to the time to where like, I make decisions based on, my family and stuff like that. I love how you said that too. Cause I'm like, I'm realistic right now. I'm not really making any money doing this. So it doesn't make sense to like go all in on all my time and effort.
Yeah, for sure.
If it doesn't make sense for my overall.
You still have
life.
irons in the fire.
Yeah.
We both do.
Yeah,
like, you still have other responsibilities. Like, I can be like a starving artist, but I can't be a starving artist.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's what I like too about you. Cause you're, you have a family and stuff like that. And I can relate to stuff like that. So that's why for me, when I get to know people, whatever journey they're on, if a lot of the times, if they're family men or like family oriented, I could relate to that more than, the single guy that has nothing going on as far as responsibilities, and they're going in on whatever they got going on, which is great.
It's a,
you know what I mean? But it's hard for me to relate. Yeah.
It's a different beast when you have more responsibility in front of you and like more to balance. And, and even I have to like, man, now that I'm retired and like, I'm lucky enough, like, because we homeschool, and I'm not in a position where like I like absolutely have to go out there and go back to a normal 9 to 5 or whatever. And I'm able to like have this weird predicament where I have to figure out how to balance hopefully a growing photography career and journey with my family too. So, and it's a good problem to have, but it's still something that, and it's just like anything else, man. You have to like continue to try to like figure it out.
Dude, I'm tweaking.
Yeah.
Weekly, daily, just making sure my kids are good. I'm good at home. Yeah. I still work myself, I think so. Like having all those like working in like unison sometimes, it's great. But sometimes it starts toppling at over stuff where you can't like, fuck, I want to go to this event. I want to shoot a podcast. That falls to the bottom of the totem pole.
Yeah, you definitely have to like reprioritize, and it's like my biggest thing is like I'm 100% that dude that like, oh, I just wrapped a shoot up, like time to get hot.
Bro, we did that on Saturday. I've been wanting to edit so much shit, but I've done a little bit, but I like how you said that too, bro.
And, and like, but once again, like for me, like that's because honestly, like I still have that ability, to do that, because I can moderately manage like, editing for however many hours until 2, and then, getting up and do the homeschool thing and like being around and stuff. But, I have ADHD, I get zoned in or locked in or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I want to get this done.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And then it's like, making sure that you're like, I want to make sure that my clients or whatever, they're getting what they what they want, what they need. Also, like I will never extend myself beyond the point where I can never where I have to put them first.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
so, and
that's a good way to put it too. It's just like I want to make sure that if I sign up to do XYZ, that I'm gonna be able to. Yeah, I'm gonna be able to knock that out to where I'm not overextending and like spilling over all the other buckets that I'm responsible.
And that'll tie into later on. I'm sure we'll get into that discussion when it comes to reward versus this is this juice worth the squeeze or whatever.
Because sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't, man. And then being able to know when and when not to,
and that's a whole nother thing to navigate too. Like when you were just talking about, as soon as you sit down in that chair, you're doing like 5 different jobs, and like, and
I gotta do this. I gotta do this. I gotta do this.
And you're still learning all of them, like as you go to get better and stuff. That's no different.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. With that being said, man, like you're starting everything, but now that you've like been doing it for a little bit, how would you kind of describe your like photography style, or do you even think you have a style?
I like hate to say it because I try to tell myself I don't, because like I said, I try to stay as like open as possible. Like anything that it gets my attention, that interests me, I feel like will push like my limits of anything I've done yet, then I'm down for it.
Hell
so
yeah.
I mean, I would say more of like an outside the box, or, you know, you've seen some of my stuff. It's, you know, maybe kind of cliche, but it's like real raw and censored. Not necessarily like photojournalism or street journalism, but I'm not, weddings, not like my thing.
Yeah.
Or
hell yeah.
more stage photography, like behind the scenes type stuff is cool, you know, because I'm able to still do my specific creative whatever I see versus having to adhere strictly to what the client wants, right?
Yeah.
Now there might be certain instances like MMA or something, you have to get certain shots,
Yeah.
but you still have a very broad window where you're allowed to use that creative you know, that creative space or whatever. So
hell yeah. And that's cool too, because like for me, like I've been doing more of the videography stuff. I'm always like trying to capture certain moments, and after a while you get to know how certain fights are going, or certain fighters. Like if I get right here, I know this fool's gonna give me a good look.
Absolutely.
Or like you know, walking up to the cage or getting to see certain fighters. After a while, you kind of see what they're doing in the back. You kind of know what you're looking for. And that's the thing, like the same too, even though this past Saturday too, I was just like trying to get to know the area, trying to think of different shots, because I want to like be able to, like I used to say, kind of open, free range, and just kind of put my own twist to it. You know what I mean?
You know, you could say any event, regardless of what it is, will have like its base things. It's the base things that need to be captured. So MMA event, like
hand raise, walking in, walking out,
warm ups, hand wraps, you know, a little bit of
pad work,
shadow sparring or shadow boxing, pad work, walk out, cage time, hand raise. You know, but then okay, like now you have all the rest of the space to do whatever you want creatively with that. So that still goes in line for me with like not. You know, not that I would be opposed to trying different kinds of portrait type stuff. I do some moderately kind of like portrait stuff, but I mean, I've done stuff for my daughters for softball, but usually my portraits are during an event or during something, and they're like in the moment. They are raw. Like someone sitting in the corner or something like that.
I feel like that more like, and I've gotten like, I try not to think too much into like, oh, I'm storytelling and shit like that.
For sure.
But like, I like to capture certain moments and like certain interactions between coaches and fans, and like just being able to capture that is so cool. Cause like photos is cool. Like you can look at a photo like, damn, there's like so much going on, but not really.
Well, because it's like, you know, with a photo, and this is any genre, no matter what, a photo is worth, a picture is worth 1,000 words. You can interpret a photo how I interpreted it as I took it, or maybe that photo is taken to interpret how the person, the subject, I'm trying to capture whatever their moment is. Or there could be no real meaning behind it. It could just be, you know, like some street photography. Sometimes it's just in the moment, and it's supposed to be open for interpretation. So, and that's kind of the cool aspect.
And that's the whole creative thing too. It's I feel like because you have your own background of like things that you've done and things like that. So when you come in to a certain shoot or a different area, you have different thoughts than I would, because we could both be at the same shoot and we're gonna shoot completely different stuff.
And honestly, like that's great. I think. And I think that's important for anyone, especially when you're in, I mean, any kind of creative project, whether it's something you're trying to sell or do for other people or do for yourself, is like look and see like where you're at. Like, what are you trying to do? What am I trying to convey or not convey? Or maybe I don't have to. But like at least being open to like that whole process. You know what I mean? So, and it kind of like, there'll be sometimes I'll take pictures. You know, we were talking about like taking a picture or doing something creatively, and you're just like, oh man, that's awesome. And then some days you're just like, next. But you know, but also I've had days where I've gone back. And you're
like, you know what? Let me. I feel different this way. This time.
Different. So
fuck you.
And that's
I didn't take out that thing. Like I'll edit stuff, then I'll be like, I don't know if it's a block or I don't know. I'm looking at like, let me just step away. And then I come back and I feel like more refreshed after like, I have this bad thing where I'll start little things and I'll just go back to them and touch them. I can't start from start to finish on something. I'll get to like a base of what I want of a video. Then I'll go mess with another and finish off and touch that one off and then come back and I feel refreshed. Because I feel like, do you ever get like burned out? Like, looking over at like something over and over again.
And, you know, and
that
like, kind of goes into like the creative block stuff. But, I just lost my train of thought.
No, it just,
because I was going to go back, but, what's the original question? I'm sorry.
Well, we were talking about the, let's see, just the style and stuff like that and just coming back and just, you know, how you approach it.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing, right? Because when I don't have those like strict left and right limits or like I don't have necessary like expectations from someone else, I'm able to do
and I think that's the best part
I want, pretty much,
because eventually like, and even me, I'm getting to the point where people like, I'm getting good feedback and I'll just tell people, well, what do you want me to do? You do your thing. And I'm like, hell yeah, that's like my best.
You're building your portfolio and you're building your art off of your own perspective, off of your own vision, off of your own creativity, off of your own 2 nights of creative block that you struggle through and then pull something out of your ass and you're like,
hell yeah.
You know, so and I think, you know, I try to be like, oh, I'm definitely an out of the box dude, but then I'm like, I don't think I want to do like weddings or something like that.
Yeah, we were saying that
but
too,
I might
man.
be an awesome behind the scenes wedding photographer. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing too. It's like, I'm not saying no to everything, but at the same time, I rather do this if it makes sense to do something. Like somebody says, hey Jimmy, can you help us out with doing a videography thing for my family or for this? Then okay, But as far as like,
when you're talking about taking
clients,
your dedicated effort, to like be very specific in what you're trying to learn and grow.
I'm good on that. I'm good. I just feel like, and I'm not hating on anybody that does. Like for me, I feel like I'm such a creative person. I've learned.
Look, you don't want my behind the scenes Bridezilla raw uncensored photos, yo, because you'll get cooked.
I'm gonna put those up, man.
I'm gonna post them on my IG and like, this is what you paid me for. You wanted to experience in the moment, like that's Bridezilla, bro.
Right? You paid me. I'm gonna give you those. But you know, talking about like, you know, just being different, and you're saying you're like kind of out of the box. You know, let's start talking about the equipment side. Like, you know, what are some gear and equipment that you rely on the most? And, you know, depending on where you're shooting and stuff, like what are some of the go-to equipment that you kind of have and always use?
I mean, to be honest, so I mean, I shoot with one camera frame right now because that's all I have in my arsenal. You know, we've talked about this. Like, I think once you get to a certain point, like everyone in videography and photography are like, okay, I want another frame. I need a secondary. For whatever reason, to have a backup or because I want to be able to shoot something separate. But you know, like I said, what I shoot on now, the 6400 it's my first mirrorless camera. I had a Nikon D3200 that I bought like 15 years ago and didn't really do a whole lot with. So I bought this, and then, you know, I had the kit lens that came with it, 18 to 135. So I learned a little bit with that. And then I bought some cheap, I bought a cheap 10 millimeter and a cheap 35 prime, you know, 10 millimeter fisheye and the 35 millimeter prime. And both those are manual lenses, you know? So once I got those, I went downtown and started messing around, put them in manual and figuring out, you know, manual focus and how to do composition and lighting and camera and stuff. And then, you know, and it's also like driven because I've had people, you know, anyone can be like, you know, does the camera really matter? Does the lens really matter? And not really, you know, you can be like, no, the kit doesn't really matter because you could have the most expensive camera, but if you don't have the vision or like the creative drive or whatever, then it's not going to matter.
Yeah.
You can take pictures all day long, but being able to, you know, it doesn't have to be a $10,000 camera or whatever either, you know, like I had a lot of fun. I haven't really done it recently, but you know, taking my fisheye out and going downtown.
Yeah.
I've taken it to a couple like, dojo sessions with people who are sparring and stuff, and it's cool.
A different look.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah, different look.
So, you know, but I learned really and truly, I learned most of my like prime lens knowledge and a lot of my manual shooting on those.
Yeah.
Because I was doing close-up subjects and stuff like that. And then as I like started getting into different things, where I needed something that was had a little more reach and stuff like that. So, you know, now I have an 18 to 50, which on here is great for really primarily MMA or even everyday kind of use and stuff.
Yeah.
So, and then I have a telephoto that I would use for like outdoor, or even sports, you know, like doing softball and stuff like that. So I think I pretty much have like a lot of my focal range covered.
Yeah.
But I still, you know, like I want like a 24 to 70 because that's a little bit bigger range, but I also want like a full frame camera. This bigger is better megapixels.
Yeah.
I can do more with it, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, but I will say like my kit has not driven my creativity.
Yes.
It's been the other way around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because once I started out with those and saw what I could do, and it just kind of like slowly progressed and just morphed into something else. And it was like, oh, okay, cool. So this is what a fisheye or 35 can do.
Yeah.
Right? Oh shit. Okay. Now let's see. Oh, you know, I want to be able to do something in low light, but have zoom or whatever. And like, when we talk about getting reps in.
Yeah.
That's when you figure out that stuff. Like,
then it's what you're like, I know what I could use right now.
Yeah, for sure.
When you're going into let's say you're going into a shoot, you're like, all right, I have XYZ. I already kind of have an idea what I'm going to go about it because you have the reps in.
Yeah. And you try different stuff out.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it's just like, for videography, like learning that you shoot in a specific frame rate or a specific exposure and it doesn't change, but you use an ND filter versus a regular photography where we adjust exposure a lot and stuff like that. And those are different things that you learn going through those reps.
Yeah.
Right? So,
yeah, I love it. But that's the thing too, is it's like, for me is like, I always feel like, and when I'm going to something, I already have ahead of time what I'm going to shoot. I like that you're always like one camera guy and you already know where you're going to go do and shoot, but you have all that different range depending on what you're going to go do.
But you know, it goes back to like, when you see me at an MMA event, I know those things now because it's my second or third or whatever. So I can at least show up and be like, okay, I'm going to be here, and here.
Yeah.
But you know, now when you talk about gear, it's like, okay, so I could definitely rock like a prime lens, you know, because I could go down the gear rabbit hole all the time and stuff. When you talk about, oh, I want to have zoom capability with a crisp photo under low light conditions where
you got 2 Gs.
They're going to capture the movement, you know. So you start talking about bigger aperture.
Yeah.
Like anything that has the word art next to it, it's a little more up there. But yeah, you going through those reps, you're like, okay, I know that if I shoot with this lens, I'll be able to capture better motion in low light, but I might lose a little bit of the crispness or clarity. Whereas if I'm doing portraits, I'm going to rock, you know, this 50 with a 1.4 and it's just going to be super crisp, super clear.
Yeah.
You know, so, but yeah, that just comes from figuring it all out as you try it out.
Yeah.
And, you know, going on and seeing what other people shoot with, look at their pictures.
Yeah. And ask them like, hey, what did you do here? What did you do that? And that goes back to what we were saying about the camaraderie of just like getting to know people and you see them over and then you're kind of just like spitting information to each other. It might not be useful right away, or maybe it just gives you an idea to think about.
But you might
else.
like 2 years from now, might be like, oh shit, you know, I want to shoot XYZ, and so had a special lens or whatever.
What were you using at that time?
Yeah, and now it's right there. You know, so
hell yeah.
And I think the other another thing that's important is to just keep like. So when I first started, because I didn't really have like a direction I wanted to go, you know, I just kind of picked up whatever I thought I wanted. Now that I know kind of what I want to focus on, you know, it's like I have this amazing telephoto lens that I got for, you know, Christmas from my wife, but I use it for softball and outdoors, you know. Now it's like I primarily shoot MMA and all that kind of stuff. So
gotta have all those tools in the toolbox. I tell people all the time, man.
For sure.
Have all those tools in the toolbox, because it doesn't mean you're gonna use them all the time. But if you ever needed to, you can pull that bitch out. You can go, man. Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
With you know, we're talking about all the different, you know, all the lenses and just going out there and then just, you know, starting the whole freelance thing and just kind of falling into shit. I love that, you know. But like,
it's awesome, but man, it is fucking scary sometimes.
Like, and that leads to my next the question.
Can I say that? Like, am I allowed to say?
Yeah, man, yeah. But that leads to my next question. Like, how do you deal with the creative blocks and how you keep your inspiration going? Or sometimes you ever catch yourself going through the motions? You know what I mean? So talk about creative blocks, staying inspired, or just like even going through the motions sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely hit roadblocks, creative blocks, inspiration blocks. I would say more so creative than inspiration because like I try to shoot whatever I can. So, if I'm constantly more or less looking for new shit that I can shoot.
Yeah.
Right? And I think from that, whether I land that or not, it like still keeps me kind of like on my toes, right? Because I'm not settled into being comfortable with what seems to be working.
Yeah.
But, like more or less, like for me, like creative blocks usually come in between the calm between the storms, and like the storms will be like, okay, this is like clear. This is what I'm doing. I'm shooting an MMA event or I'm doing a restaurant shoot or something like that. Versus like, okay, so now we have that gap in between where we start continuing to like work on our like craft and this and that. But that's why I said, like if I pull my Lightroom up right now, dude, I probably have like 10,000 photos that are unedited.
Yeah.
In my imports, and like just everything.
Yeah.
Anything I've taken a picture of. And I will 100% sometimes if I'm up at late at night or whatever and I don't have something specific to edit, I'll go through there and I'll just pictures that I was like I didn't like or pictures that I had that were part of a shoot, but I gave the client or whatever what was required, and now these are all extra photos that I just have whatever to play with and shit. And that's usually what I do.
Hell yeah.
Because it kind of like helps me. It's kind of therapeutic at some point, and then it helps me to like, okay, now like I've done XYZ shoots and I've learned this on Lightroom or whatever. So now let me see what happens when I mess with the S curve, because I've never messed with the S curve, or I start making my own black and white photos, or I start, using different tools and stuff like that. So, and that's really like where you have to keep doing it. Right.
Yeah.
Because I know like for me, like, and I feel like maybe a lot of people have been there, especially when you're really want to get to a specific goal, and it's right there. Like it's right there. It's just not coming though.
Yeah.
It's just not coming. And, I think a lot of us, I know for myself, have had those nights where you're like, man, everything was going hot. Everything was great. I got a lot of response and feedback, and now it's just that.
Yeah.
It's that lull, right? So, and you can't get comfortable on the things you've done. Like, because I can repost everything I've done for a certain amount of time, and then eventually, like, people say, okay, so that's the creative limits.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you can do. No, like I want to continue. I want to keep editing and then looking at my pictures and being like,
and that self motivation and we were saying like the feedback is good from people, but having that self motivation to always get a little bit better, just get a little bit better. And like, even if like I've this past event we did at the at Elite Kickboxing for the Smoker, I caught myself like, okay, I've shot XYZ. Let me start shooting different things that I normally, just so I can go mess with and edit it later. And I like how you say that you go back and look at pictures like, all right, what haven't I done? What angles, what shots haven't I got? Yeah. So this way I can start working on those so I can incorporate them to get better at them.
For sure.
You know what I mean? That's a good way to.
Well, I mean, it's just like this, you're talking about your workflow and stuff, but being able to, you're not focused specifically 100% on what's in front of you. You're still able to maintain like that open mind, that open eye, and like still be creative in the moment of the process. Like, like for Elite, like, dude, I love shooting there because the lighting is crazy and they got the gym stuff in the back. Yeah. And then, you know, there were some pictures that I snapped that, like, even though I wasn't necessarily happy with exactly how they came out, because I was playing with some exposure stuff, and some of them were underexposed, so there's a little bit of noise. But, you know, doing photos of like artsy style where someone's like sitting there about to fight and they're contemplating or thinking, and I'm like looking at them in the mirror, or something like that.
Hell so yeah.
Never done some shit like that.
Yeah.
It didn't come out 100, but
yeah,
I'm
but now
like,
you have like
I will 100% try that shit next time, adjust my exposure, and you know, then I'll be like, this is the one, bro.
Yeah. I was doing this was the first time I was actually like walking backwards, and as they were, but I had the angle of the camera like this, so it looks fucking dope.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
That monitor
and
too,
I was just
so.
like that, and I was just walking backwards, and I'm like, and I look back at some of them. Some of them were like not as good as I thought, but some of them, like, God, what a moment! Like that I was able to capture.
But you tried it.
Yeah, because I was thinking about it. I was like, well, what can I do?
Yeah,
you know, to kind of get a different aspect. And that's the thing that I always liked about you is like, you're always like, well, let me try this. Well, let me look in the mirror and have a take a picture of this. Like, who thinks of shit like that?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And I kind of think that's, you know, when you like ask me like what my style is or whatever, like I do a lot of like weird angle type shit. You'll see me shooting like at dojos and fights and stuff. You'll see me shooting through like people's elbows, or through their legs, or you know, different stuff like that.
Yeah,
and like I went with a buddy, Cesar Cervantes photography, or Cesar Cervantes visuals. He did like a photo shoot for a clothing line, and he was like, hey man, you want to tag along? And he like showed me a lot of cool shit, and like I helped him out, like holding some of the lighting and stuff. But I brought my camera too, so I was able to like try some shit out. So I did kind of like a behind the scenes of him doing the photos and stuff, and I was like, this is dope.
Yeah,
like this is dope, man.
Yeah.
Because I've never done pictures with a supplemental or like off camera lighting, but because he had them set up, I was able to see like different things that my camera could do, and that I was able to do creatively. Because I mean, dude, you take away off camera lighting and it's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Like it anyone that uses them knows like how important they are.
Yeah.
How much more you can get from them. But you know, like I wouldn't have learned that. I wouldn't have known that.
Well, they're taking the opportunities to go to you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like if it makes sense,
dude,
within
and
reason,
like being in the location where we were at. And
I saw that was when you guys were in the hotel, right?
On at the Paseo del Norte.
Yeah, that shit looked cool.
And being able to go up there and like watch him do his thing, and like, you know, it's like see all the downtown and shit.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a cool experience.
Yeah.
Like learning new shit, like still supporting someone else. They're supporting me. By,
it
like,
wins all around.
Yeah, there's no downside to that.
Yeah, wins all around.
And I think like if you ever find yourself in that kind of creative block or that space, fuck it, man. Like go ask to do a photo shoot for free somewhere that you've never done.
And that's the thing too.
I'm not saying
like,
go shoot a wedding for free, but try something new.
Yeah, I think it's like willing to try something that you normally wouldn't, and just to go try it, because we've talked about that. Like, I don't ever want to do something that just for the money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, well, I could probably do that, but do I really want to do that? But, you know, get to the point to where you can start, you know, and I tell people this, like, even with the whole content creation, I tell people, like, do something that you normally wouldn't do and tweak it, or watch somebody that you like that does something and then kind of tweak it and put it in your own, because you're never going to know unless you try it yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? You might fall into something like, damn, like, I really like this. I never thought I was going to like this.
And not only that, but like, it's good to have that self-awareness that, that you're doing what you want and stuff too. But sometimes it's easy to have self-doubt. I do. I feel
the imposter syndrome all the time. Everywhere I go, I feel like I'm an
and then
imposter.
you have people be like, man, your videos are great, bro. Like, holy shit. Like, I can't wait to see what you're doing next. Or, dude, your photos.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay.
Right.
You know? And that like helps a little bit.
Of course. It's like, yeah, because it's like I don't need the pat on the back all the time. I'm still gonna do it regardless. Yeah. But having the pats on the back does help. I'm not gonna fucking lie. Somebody says, "Hey, that shit was dope." I'm like, "Cool, thank you," because I work so hard on it. I fucking work so hard.
It's like but you know, I've also had it where like I got like, "Oh yeah, cool, I appreciate it," and I was like, "All right, you know, that's cool." And then, but their profile picture is my picture. And
yeah. Right. Yeah. You're right. Right. Exactly. Cool. And that's the thing too, because sometimes like having that feedback is good, but sometimes not depending on those pats.
Yes.
Depending on that, that's like you have to have that self motivation to, because you're gonna have self-doubt regardless, whatever you do. You know, unless you're a perfect human being and you do whatever you do and you're good for you. For me, I'm always like, fuck, I didn't think that was good.
Yeah.
Damn, even then they're telling me it looks cool. I'm like, nah, y'all fucking lying. You know what I mean? But yeah, but it's just like, I still want to keep doing it, you know?
But I think that it's almost like self-doubt, but also like not an arrogance, but like I'm having self-doubt because you know what? I'm still doing new shit that I haven't really done yet. And I'm living outside of my comfort zone. So it's like, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
You know?
I like that shit. Yeah. So I was like, just wait.
Yeah. Just wait. You know, I do if I surprise myself, imagine what I'm going to do to you.
Yeah.
Man.
Just wait. Just wait. And that's the thing too. Like, I don't like, I'm the type of person that I've always done stuff and people are like, oh shit, you done that? I'm all, yeah. I'm just like, I just do stuff. I don't ever talk about, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to do this. I just put stuff out and I'm just like trying to get better in any aspect, podcasting, questions, video editing. They're like, damn, Jimmy, you do everything. I'm like, yeah, why don't you just focus on one thing? I was like, because that's not what drives me. That doesn't what makes me tick. Yeah. If I wanted to be just an editor and sit there in front of a computer all day, I'm sure I can do it, but I don't want to fucking do it. I can have a podcast every damn day. Yeah. But does it make sense having a conversation with random people all the time? I want it to make sense.
Yeah, you have your own goals for what you want to create. What in your audience, they have their own expectations or what they want to see. You know, so and it's like you have that creative freedom. Yeah. And once again, it goes back to that, like, you know, once you put yourself in that position where you have the ability to like pick and choose. Yep. What am I going to put my maximum time and effort and creativity into? Yeah, because I can and because I want to, man.
Exactly. Hell yeah, man. Yeah. But like with all that we were talking about, you know, all that stuff as far as equipment, shooting, and things like that, taking advantage of opportunity. How do you fucking balance everything? How do you like juggle? I know you're a family man, and you got things going on at the house, you know. So how do you like, you know, balance and manage your time in between shoots and editing and family and making sure that all those buckets are filled as well?
I think, like I said before, it's definitely still something I have to balance and I have to make myself focus on and be deliberate about. And, you know, I'm not going to BS. I absolutely fail sometimes. Yeah. You know, I find myself locked in and I'm like, shit, you know, I got 4,000 freaking photos, bro. I got to get XYZ done. But I'm in that position because I'm retired and because we homeschool and stuff that I'm still able to, and I'm not, you know, I'm a freelance. I want to be a freelance, but you know, I don't have jobs knocking every day. Yeah. And even though in some aspects that would be good, I don't necessarily even really care if I get that.
Hell yeah.
You know, I want to be able to be to the point where I can be like, okay, cool. You know what? Like
that interests me. I'm down.
I'm in, I'm down, and it supports my like financial needs for this month. Yeah. And the rest of it is because I want to go do it.
Hell yeah.
You know, but I do have to remind myself I am lucky, man. Yeah. You know, because I know a lot of you guys and gals, y'all still work. You have your own side, all this other stuff, you know. So I am lucky because I'm able to, if I need to, you know, I can be like, okay, hey kids, y'all are hot on school, breakfast is done. I'm editing now. Yeah. Or, you know, I'll be up late, do my editing late, and you know, I don't have to get up and get up at 5 a.m. and go to a job. You know, I can get up and go to the gym if I want, and then do breakfast and stuff, and then edit or whatever. So, right now I don't necessarily have like too much of an issue. Yeah. You know, if anything, it's more on me getting like super hyper focused and like having to be like, okay, you know, like you got to like step away from a little bit. Yeah. And then get back and, you know, let's do dinner and shit. Yeah. And shit. So,
yeah. Cause we could, I know that for me, I can just sit in that room, dude, and just forever. But, and then like, I've gotten better and I like how honest you are like about that too. It's like, I'm always, sometimes my wife will be like, yeah, been a while. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Hold on. Let me. Yeah. But then sometimes I'll stop myself before it gets to that point. Yeah. I shouldn't ever have to be like, I don't ever want my kids to ever come in and like, they're bugging me. I don't ever want to feel that way.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And I gotten better over time. Like since I've been creating content over 5 years now, it's just like I've gotten better when to like gas and then when to brake. You know what I mean?
And that once again, you know, that's all like being like aware. Sometimes having someone kind of knock you over the head and be like, yo, and reel it in a little bit.
Yeah, and it took it and like, and I've talked about this many times with my wife and even on my podcast and stuff with other people, just like having that open communication to make sure that there is not ever like, if she tells me something, she's telling me for a reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like, hey, you're sitting in there and you're not focused. Like, you know, it shouldn't ever be that way. And it's always a conversation. And the fact that, hey, my bad, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like I just do stuff in between times and it's not affecting anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
That's how I kind of go about how I go with editing and stuff. Like, where can I fit in the time where it doesn't bother anything of a regular day-to-day basis of, you know, the kids, the family, and work.
And that's kind of how I am because, honestly, man, I do a lot of my editing on my phone. Eventually, I want to get a tablet and stuff, but my laptop is old.
Yeah.
And being on a laptop, it ties me to that one spot. And dude, I've straight up have done a shoot or whatever. And, you know, my daughters want to go to Urban Air. Well, I'm there for like 2.5, 3 hours and I'm just, all right, I'm still culling photos.
Nice.
Going through and like doing some editing and stuff like that. But then it you know, I'm able to like get a better workflow and be more productive, but then I'm tied to my phone.
Yeah.
So then it's like, okay.
Gotta put that bitch down.
Yeah.
Live in the moment. Yeah,
exactly. Yep. And you know, and that's like that's a whole nother conversation in itself, living in the moment and stuff. But like, you know, realizing now, like, once again, that I am retired and that like my family is like my only real responsibility.
Yeah.
I don't have anyone else that I owe anything to except for them, you know? So trying to make sure that I keep those irons in the fire, make sure I balance those buckets full.
Hell yeah.
And then not making them feel like, you know, I'm only focusing on this.
And I always feel like those, I always say like, everybody's, damn, Jimmy, you're so busy doing this. And I'm like, all those things that I got going on feed this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I need to go to jujitsu.
Yeah.
I need to edit. I need to spend time with my kids. And like those all fill me.
These are all things that better me as a person. You know,
like I need all those working for me to keep doing what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So like, I like how you said that, but you might not have responsibilities, but those are the stuff that, you know, you got in the position. I know you're retired and stuff like that, but you put yourself in that position to be able to do this now. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just, a lot of people don't understand. Like sometimes it's not the time when to go all in on something or it doesn't make sense yet. Yeah. But when you can gradually start getting to that, and that's what I respect everybody who's like, I only have a plan A, fucking full A. If you can do that, fucking more power to you. And I want to see you win. Yeah. For me, I kind of like, I always say it this way. We're all on a freeway. Sometimes I could be in the left lane, but sometimes I just got to exit.
Yep.
And then when I'm ready, I'll get back on. And then I'll probably be on the right lane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I just feel like that's how my life works when it comes to my creativeness and what I got going on, to where like I could still look forward to doing it. I'm not going through the motions. And I'm still having fun doing jujitsu. I'm coaching. I'm doing this. I'm going to events. I'm watching movies with the kids. I'm, you know, spending time with my wife. All those stuff is what I need.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest things that makes that doable, even though it's so much stuff and it can be overwhelming sometimes, at least for me, is remembering that like all of that is good stuff. You know, it's, you know, whatever you're doing at the dojo, jiu-jitsu or boxing or whatever, or coaching. It's good physically, mentally, for relationships, all that kind of stuff.
Gotta feed the fuel, man.
Exactly. And if I've definitely seen that whenever I'm struggling in other areas of my life, it absolutely inhibits my creativity.
Yep.
You know, because you can't focus.
Yes. You're like, oh, I have to worry about this. I have to do this.
Yeah.
Like, I say that, get everything lined up.
Yeah. And, you know, sometimes I've noticed that when I feel like I'm struggling creatively, I probably should be focusing on stuff that's more important, you know?
And that's over time that you learn about yourself. Cause like I said, you're like, you catch yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you should be able to catch yourself. I feel like in anything, not even just creativity or whatever. Like, you feel like you're doing too much of one thing, and somebody has to tell you, you should be able to catch yourself.
Yeah.
I feel like everything within moderation.
Yeah,
you know? I just feel like,
exactly.
you know what I mean?
And you know, it's easy to get, you know, stuck on a deadline, or stuck on like not even a deadline. You know, you have this desire to get it out there, or to be like, you know what, I want to get on this right now because I feel like if I don't, then I'm gonna lose that.
Yeah, that little mojo and shit. Yeah.
And but sometimes you just can't.
Yeah,
you gotta.
Sometimes I just smash a beer and I'm like, I can get some editing.
Yeah, right? Well, I just go out and just smash a J.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, man, whatever works and shit like that.
Yep,
that's cool, man. But like, I love talking about that stuff. And here's another thing that I wanted to talk to you about. And this is just something that I'm starting getting into, and I'm starting to talk to people about it. Is the whole pricing. You know what I mean? Man. Like, that's just like, I feel weird, and I'm just honest. I'm always tell everybody I work with, I'm just like, look, I'm trying to figure this out, but I can do X, Y, Z and things like that. Yeah. You know, how do you handle like pricing and as a freelancer, and how, you know, any advice that you can give to somebody that is at the point to where like, all right, I'm confident in my skill and what I can provide as a service. You know, how do you handle the whole pricing thing?
So yeah, that is like that's a tough combo. It's and the reason why is because pricing is so varied, and because there's so many different elements to that.
Yeah.
You're talking about your market. You're talking about what part of the market. Like, are you doing a specific type of photography or videography? All right. Well, how in demand is it? Is it high in demand? Is it not? Is it very niche? You know. And then you're talking about, okay, how much does my equipment cost? So then you're talking about, what is my time worth to me?
Turnaround time, timeline.
Well, just, you know, what is my time being here doing this for you?
Oh,
worth?
yeah.
You know, because like I said, for me, you know, I'm not just gonna be like, well, my time is worth $1 million an hour.
Yeah.
But if I'm here, it's because I want to be here, and I'm away from my family. You know, I'm not at home doing what I want to be doing. It is, even though I love what I do, and you guys see me super enthusiastic, I'm still having to sacrifice somewhere else.
Yep.
People should be compensated.
Yes.
And it's not necessarily always just monetary.
Yeah.
You know, so, but I would say, you know, if you're to get to that point, you know, even for like my wrap business, when I was vinyl wrapping motorcycles, like I didn't just start off charging right off the bat.
Yeah.
And even when I did first start charging, you know, I was still like going a little bit above and beyond, and like kind of pushing my boundaries a little bit and trying new stuff. But like, I at least had like a base knowledge, and I had a base confidence that I could do it. And that's one reason why, like, I feel it's beneficial, you know, to go out and do anything and everything you can.
Yeah.
Because one, when you start talking about charging, like, that shows that you're super flexible.
Yep.
It shows that you have that drive. It shows that you have that level of like self-drive, creativity, that if I'm a client and I don't know what I want,
I can help. Yeah.
You got me.
Yeah.
Like, I see you don't just do one thing, you do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So that means that if I don't have a very specific idea or vision, then you can run with that shit.
Yeah.
And I know that you can do it. So, you know, I can't sit here and be like, you know, you should charge X, Y, Z or whatever.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, I've only had a few paid clients, and all of them have been either MMA related, and one of them was a DJ, you know, and he was like, man, thanks for snapping those pictures. I snapped pictures of him at KFL, and he sent me a tip.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, I appreciate it. That's badass. You know? But even, you know, for my own pricing, I'm still figuring that out, man. And, you know, there's a lot of opportunity that comes with, how do I word this? Not getting clout, but getting the opportunity and being able to have a specific opportunity. Sometimes you're going to have to sacrifice that monetary.
Yeah.
Like I said, is the juice worth the squeeze, right? Okay, I'm confident in my photography ability or my videography ability. I just need to get that exposure.
Yeah.
Start knocking on doors, start asking people, get into those events and those things that scare you and you don't know. You're like, I'm gonna nail this shit, right? But then you can start taking those things into consideration, because now the more you're exposed to those kinds of things and people, events, you start learning what your worth is when it comes to when it comes to your work, not just your time or just my equipment.
Exactly.
You hear what either other people charge or don't charge, or, you know, hey, this might be a good opportunity to cover something.
Yeah.
And then I meet some other people.
Yeah.
Help some friends out. Like, and I've done a ton of pictures and I have zero expectation with anything in return, man, because I'm fortunate enough to be able to go to these places and take pictures for people, and then to tell me that they like my work. And like that alone is like the opportunity for me to grow. You know what I mean? And like in certain instances, I will never ask for something in return for that.
That's cool.
Because that's just like, it's no different than if I was to go do pictures at my daughter's softball game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
I'm not here to always make money.
Yeah.
You know, and I would love to make a lot of money. It'd be great, but I don't have to. And I don't want it to cross that threshold where I no longer am taking my own time.
Yes.
And using my own creative process. And now I'm tied to a bunch of deadlines, a bunch of creative limits, all because I want some more money in my bank. It's a balance.
Yeah.
So I can't, obviously give like an easy answer to that.
Yeah. But what you're saying is what was told to me too. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You definitely gotta feel out the whole field.
Yeah. You gotta, like, one guy was telling me, like, well, like, I was like, well, what are your prices? He's like, well, I have a base of X. He's like, then I asked, is there editing? Is there video?
Yeah.
Is there this? What's the timeline?
There's
like,
a lot of different
aspects. I was like, I didn't think about that. He's like, yeah, you don't just do, like, for videographers, like, you just don't do a package usually. It depends, like, what it is. If it's like something that's like gonna be like, okay, it's an hour, in your head to be about an hour or two of editing.
You might have your base rate for your time there. And then, like you said, okay, if I'm there for an hour, it might be an hour to 2 hours of editing. So this is going to be my
exactly.
rate.
But if it's just like a whole event, and then, okay, well, how many pictures and what do you want me to focus on?
Yeah.
Do you need audio? Do you need video?
Want?
Is there certain things?
Exactly.
And I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you're right. I'm like, I want to, like, since I've been doing the whole content thing, man, like I've made money when I was doing the streaming and doing stuff like that. And I get a little bit of, supporters. Shout out to all my supporters out there on, on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch and all that. That comes in, but like knowing that I don't have to like sit there and depend on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Is fucking, like, as a creative person, me, like, yes, I do a lot of things for free, how you're saying, but I enjoy doing it. And I know it will lead to something down the road. But I do it because I want to do it, and not because I'm expecting something in return.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But
this isn't something that, like I said, whenever I retired, I was like, how am I gonna support myself and my family?
And I think that's what keeps my
starts
creativeness.
Off more as a creative goal.
Yeah. My creativeness is like always good because I don't have to worry about financially. And like I've met, and I've still know creators that they have to play this game. They have to do this. They have to do subathons. They have to because they have to do it. And sometimes they're like, fucking just going through the motions. I had to stream 8 hours today, or I had to go, edit this, and I have to do that. And now I have like this. And I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to feel that way where I feel like because I need to do it because I have to do it.
When you start talking about something that you're passionate about, starts turning into drag.
Yeah.
Or buzzkill or strictly work.
Yeah.
Like where you once again, it's like, if I'm going to be an entrepreneur and I'm going to work on my own time, like I'm going to work on my own time. Like, I mean, obviously if I have to be at a shoot at a time or whatever, but
but if the goal's not
I can tell you yes or no, I don't want to be there.
Yeah. Cause I just want to, like, I've always said this, I want to just be able to create all the different content that I'm doing and just make the money that I'm making now. That would be amazing. If I can quit my 9-to-5 job and just do what I'm doing now
and make what you make now.
And I would be more than happy because I could have more time to focus on getting better and doing other things that I want to.
You're able to be more dedicated.
Yeah, exactly. Just not like, oh, I have to fucking take a shoot so I could pay my electric bill. I have to do this. I have to edit this video because I need to pay my phone bill. Like also another thing too is that we're older.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're established financially and stuff like that. So people that are like the starving artists and stuff like that, I respect that. Don't get me wrong. Like the hustle and the grind, and you have to do that. Hey, go for it, man. But as far as like the people that I talk to and things like that, that's kind of the same response that I get to. So it feels good because it's like, yeah, I'm like, a lot of people don't understand that. Yes, we're holding the camera and taking pictures, but there is so much going into that, and then after, you know what I mean. A lot of people don't respect. If you wanted to just break it down
specifically for monetary value that goes into it, you know, you're talking about your gear, you're talking about your travel time.
Yep.
You're talking about your softwares that you have to pay memberships for, subscriptions for, your online storage.
Yep. All that stuff. People are like, well, you're gonna charge me X amount for a photo shoot? Like it right when they say that, then it's kind of like, okay, maybe I don't want to work with this person.
And you know,
because I don't want to haggle.
Yeah, for sure. And it's kind of like you know, I don't necessarily either. I will say that I have. But at the end of the day is you get to a certain point where you're like, okay, is it worth it now or is it not? And you know, the people that I have haggled with 100% have been people that I'm like, you know what? Like there are people that have come to me after the fact, like clients, and I already had the pictures and they were like, you know what? Like they didn't necessarily book me up front. And I was like, you know what? I would rather you still have the pictures. Like they're just going to sit in my hard drive.
Yeah.
It's only going to take me an hour or two to give you some good edits and stuff. Okay. Like whatever. That's cool. I'd rather you have the pictures.
Yeah.
You know, I'd rather you be like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather you have that picture and be like, you know, because I have, you know, especially for MMA and stuff, there's younger kids out there. Yeah. And like, you know, I know that a lot of fighters, dude,
they're just like us. They're just trying to do their thing
They're
too.
Starving artists, man.
They're doing their thing too.
They're out there getting sponsors and grinding. And, you know, when I see how much effort certain people put in, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it,
I got you.
Yeah. Like, because I know that you're busting your ass in every other aspect.
Yes. If I could just do this, I've had people shout, hey, man, appreciate that video. Appreciate this photo. Hey, man, all good. I want to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? I want to do it. But with the whole money thing, and we're going to be getting to know each other more when it comes to that stuff and learning from each other and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I like that too, man. It just
it can be like a touchy combo too, you know, because it's especially when it's a new territory for you, you're trying to figure out your own worth. People may not recognize your worth, and not necessarily because they don't want to. They just may not even know familiar with how it goes. You know, I mean, you can look at local freelance rates and compare that to other people, and you might have like a very wide spectrum. And you know, some people might charge you $100 for an hour. Some people might charge you $300 for an hour. Depends on who it is, what their level is, where they're at, what they're comfortable with.
Yeah, because I'm not trying to make $1 million, but I want to just be compensated for my time and effort.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be
for sure.
I always feel like I always want to like collab with people. I don't want to make it seem like, oh, you're my client. And I don't want to be told, hey, I want this, and this, which I get, but I don't want to be that way. You know what I mean? But when it makes sense, when it makes sense,
collaboration 100%, because once again, and you're right. Like usually when I mean, so I use the word client, but you know, like for MMA fights, I haven't had anyone yet that has been like, this is what I want.
Yeah.
It's been like, hey, I saw what you do.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
That's what I want. Yeah, hell yeah, man. With that being said, like, you know, what are the type of photography that you like doing the most? I know you've done a wide range of stuff. Like, what do you like doing the most? And what do you like doing the least?
Yeah, that's that one is hard because I don't know, because I guess I kind of like divide stuff. Like I have my own, like, you know, like the stuff I do with my kids. Like one reason like I love photography is because, like I said, like for me, it's not going to be about like hopefully getting popular or getting bigger. Like I have a folder like that just has a shit ton of pictures of my kids in it, right? And like every once in a while, I'll just keep going in and like dropping pictures in there. And like for me, that's like that's like my legacy, you know what I'm saying? And forgot
no, like the least, like what you like the most shooting, and then the least.
You know, outside of like freelance stuff, I would say my kids, man.
Yeah.
My family.
Oh yeah.
Being able to capture that and like give them that and be like, you know, in like 10 years or whatever,
hell yeah,
you can print out a shit ton of pictures, or you're gonna you're gonna be able to go back and like look,
Yeah.
and like see where we've been and the things we've done.
Yep.
And
I do that stuff all the time. Like when we do trips, I'll do like little videos.
Yeah.
I don't post them online.
Yeah.
I just have them so we can go back and look at it. And then I've always said that I had one content creator homie, shout out to One Shot Knox, man. He said this. I like how you said about the legacy is all my YouTube videos when I'm dead and gone, as long as YouTube doesn't explode and disappear, like my kids can look back. They
can watch it.
They can look back and say, look, you know, he did this video, or like, look at these shots that we took, or things like that. I like that about the legacy, because that's like the whole like that like is on top, the cherry on top. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Being able to shoot what you want to shoot, and then just like being able to like, look, it's a legacy thing, man.
And not only that, but like you know, for example, like when I do photos at my girls' games, right? Like it's not usually me like posing them and stuff. It's them playing. It's them once again in those raw, like uncensored, unscripted moments, like doing their art, playing their game, living in their own little reality and shit. And like, and I'm able to capture that and like give it to them. And it's not like I because we grew up in the age we grew up, or I feel like the age I grew up, probably like there's nowhere near as much documentation.
Yeah, no, man. Like, I wish I had like, I have kids like taking their first shit to fucking, you know what I mean? To now, like everything.
I think I got like 10 or 15 pictures of me, you know, and those are like, you know, Polaroid and shit. So, you know, outside of like being freelance type stuff, you know, like kids, absolutely family and stuff.
Yeah, that's dope.
But
man.
You know, anything that I can, any kind of photography that I'm able to maintain that creative freedom, man.
Yeah, that's the best.
And able to, I mean, you know, it's like I love going out to the mountains. Like I went out to cruises and it was freaking snowing and shit.
Yeah, that looks
like,
so cool, man.
And like I had a blast doing that. But then, you know, you're at the MMA fight and you're just like listening to dudes get knocked out or hit and shit, and there's like blood flying and like it's a whole nother thing. Like it's hard to compare, you know. So, but
all wins,
no matter because no matter where I'm at and what I'm doing when I'm doing that kind of stuff, when I'm doing photography, man, like
I want to be there.
I'm there.
Yeah,
I'm like I'm in the moment. I'm present, and I don't worry about anything else.
Hell
like,
yeah.
It's like when you do jujitsu, or when you do anything, when you're editing, or something that really drives your attention, and like really helps you, like you're connected. You know? You're just doing that thing. That's it.
Yeah, so. That's badass, man. Hell yeah. With that being said, you know, we talked about how you started, the different equipment, you know, doing certain things and things like that. But you know, if ideally you can shoot like any celebrity, any event, any location, if you could just be there and it, you know, nothing as you can be there and everything's all right in the world. You know, what would you want to do or shoot or be at?
Man, that's a hard one. That's a really, really hard one, because I mean, I could probably come up with a million different famous people. You know, there's certain celebrities that I don't really maintain like a following for famous people and stuff, but you know, specifically when it comes to art, with whatever kind of art it is, you know, like Anthony Bourdain, obviously a famous chef, you know, amazing speaker, amazing storyteller, and even though a lot of what he did was like super scripted and he talks about in a lot of his books, he hated that shit. He loved what he was doing, but he hated the scripted part, and but someone like that, man,
shoot,
you know,
being around them doing their thing and just shooting that,
and just being in that moment and being able to witness it behind the scenes and hands off, no drive, no direction, no nothing, and because it's not always rainbows and unicorns and freaking smiles and shit. And you know, when I was in the military, like on my first deployment, you know, we had some photographers that were embedded with us, and not that I would want to go back to that kind of thing, but like doing something like that just is 100%. There's no script. There's no, you are behind the camera and you're just rolling with whatever's going on, you know? So.
Hell yeah. That's cool too, because, you know, I think the whole fly on the wall is what I've been liking more too. Cause like when I'm doing the video thing, I want to let the guys know that I'm there, but I'm not there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't look at me. Don't focus on me. Like, you guys just
absolutely
keep doing your thing. Yep. And I think that's more natural, because I like capturing those moments and stuff like that.
Because there's a lot of times where, man, there's whatever is going on, there's momentum and shit, and you don't want to interrupt it, you know? And I know a lot, especially from the photography standpoint, and I'm sure videography, especially when you kind of get into, maybe it's more of documentary style. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of discussion on like, how hands off are you? Okay, well, obviously it depends on like what is expected of you or what do you have to produce, but like, how hands off are you in whatever environment you in, and like just letting shit roll. Yeah, like, I'm not there to control anything.
Yeah, I'm not gonna put you here. Can I get a shot here? Can you do over here?
I'm there to capture it.
Yeah,
and you know, like you might see one or two pictures. I think like I snapped a couple from this past weekend where I may have told a fighter to be like, hey, bro, like he was doing this and then he took a break. Hey, put your glove out.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah,
something cool like that. But when you stand in the corner, the fly on the wall, and you like just watch people, you don't have to know what they're thinking, but you can feel that shit. You can see it.
I even more now that I have that damn monitor, I would just like, damn, man.
Oh yeah, you got like a giant view, bro.
I'm just like, holy shit, this was really
like I can almost read this dude's mind.
Yeah, this guy's about to go in there and fight and shit. But man, that's cool.
And that, you know, that kind of goes back to like being tied in, locked in, being present in the moment, and learning to feed off of that and realize that. And that for me like drives my creative process.
Hell yeah.
Because then it doesn't make me have to look for like different shit. It just kind of pops up.
Yeah.
Like, so, and I think that's kind of the cool part, because like when you're not necessarily like looking for something, and then you like take a picture or you capture something, you're like,
yeah. Hell yeah. I love that, man. Before we get out of here, man, where can we find you? Where can the people check out do you have like an online gallery? You just,
so for right now,
Instagram, what's one of the main
Instagram
out of the way?
Expedition Unknown Photography on Instagram is my primary. And I'm still working through some gallery type stuff. I want to eventually transition to like Pixie Set for delivering my galleries and stuff. I'm not really a TikTok kind of guy, you know. Once again, you know, Instagram's probably going to be my primary. And then whenever I push out work or whatever. So, I mean, if anyone ever wants to check out my work, you're more than welcome to hit me up, and I can send out specific galleries for something in particular you want to see.
Yeah.
But, and I think that's the other thing too. You know, I just try to keep it simple. Like this is how I roll. This is what you get.
Yeah.
You know, and for me, man, like it's hard enough for me, like with ADHD sometimes, if I got like a TikTok, an Instagram,
I got too much going on.
Let
me focus. Hey, nothing wrong with that, man.
Dude, I'm like, oh, I got like 4,000 photos I got to upload.
Yeah.
Now I got to like roll this out and stuff. I'm like, you know, that's why when I see some of the stuff you guys do, I'm like, it's impressive, man.
Yeah, there's so much shit going on, man. But that goes back to the workflow, man. Yeah. It's just like when you start knowing when you can do and how to go about it, you start chopping time in half. I'm sure with your editing process, you've gotten better.
Oh yeah, you know
I mean?
now it's just like I throw in my SD and I start culling, and while I'm doing that, I just start handpicking a couple different ones to slowly like post up and stuff. And then once I get everything uploaded, then I, you know, like for this past weekend, it was like pick a couple, get some cool edits out there to kind of like get everyone hyped up and see what's coming. And then it was like, you know, now I'm just kind of go dark for a little bit and
without
focus on each individual, you know, whoever I'm focused on or whatever, and knock it out.
Yeah. So, hell yeah.
But you know, that's also like kind of something I just started doing.
Yeah.
Like versus hovering.
Yeah.
And worrying about everything transferring and all that kind of stuff. So,
yeah. I love that, man. But I do appreciate your time, man, getting to know you. And, you know, I know that, you know, I feel like me and you are still getting to know each other, and we're going to have many more adventures and shit. I'm sure I'll have you on my vlogs for many more events in the future.
I hope so. I can't.
You know what I mean? Because I love being around people like you. Like just,
thank you.
You know what I mean? Like you got
vice
like,
versa, man.
You know, and that's the thing too, is like I like hanging out with people. I'm too old to. If you got too much negative stuff going on in your life, I can't be around that. I'm not saying that everything happy-go-lucky, but if you got good things happening in your life and you're a good person, that's the kind of people I want to talk and interact with.
Exactly.
Man. You know what I mean? Because I just feel like me talking to you and being around you always feeds like my creativeness and shit going on. Like, this is dope. We're all here hanging out. Everybody's doing their thing. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. You know, I don't, I spend a lot of time at home, you know, with my kids and the dojo, softball. So when I'm out, you know, it's like, I definitely have a certain level of social anxiety. My battery can run low and stuff, but I'm being in more situations where that isn't an issue as much anymore, because I know that I'm like, I don't feel like I have to be anybody else, you know. We can spit our shit. There's no kind of competition or any of that kind of shit, you know. And it's like I'm able to like meet people and have people like you that I'm able to like not be afraid to let you be a part of this, even though I have no idea where it's going. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
And I think that's what we're both doing. We're both trying to figure this shit out as we go.
Like, I need someone to go down the ship with me in case this doesn't work out. Like,
so we're both seeking.
Like, where's my life preserver, bro? You got me or what?
Hell yeah, man.
No, absolutely. And you know, even though I may not desire to have a huge ring of friends, I definitely have grown a huge ring of friends that I definitely consider friends. And, you know, you do a shout out to you and everyone else I've met. And then especially, you know, like my family at Zen, like Professor Mondo and Luis and Ruben and all the coaches, you know, me and both my sons go there. We've been going there for, I don't know, like a year and a half. And I knew when I retired, I was like, I have to do something. And my girls were in softball. And then I was like, you know, my boys, we need to do something because we homeschool. Wanted to give them something that's productive mentally, physically, but also gives them the ability to socialize and stuff. And it's been great. And because of them, because of being there, you know, they're the reason I shot at CFC. You know, they're the reason I even started shooting any kind of MMA or martial arts stuff because they allow me to come in to their trainings and do that and be a part of that. And it's just like you said, it's grown into what it is now, and like they continue to support me. Yeah, you know, and thank you.
Yeah, shout out to them, man. But and I feel the same way, man. I feel like the whole MMA community and combat sports community here, everybody's like genuinely positive and helping each other out, man. And that's like the best part, man.
And you know, because my sons go there, and you know, like for you, like you coach and stuff there. So, and I think, you know, if I could give anyone one more tip. Especially for if you're trying to be, if you want to know what you're doing, if you want to know what you're involved in, like do it. Yeah. I heard someone say that at a meeting not too long ago, and he's absolutely right. He's like, you know what, if you want to be good at this, you need to be a part of it. Go try it. Go see what it's about, you know, because like if you're trying to capture fighters.
Yeah, and I don't ever watch fights and shit like that.
Bro, like when you go in and you hear them talk and you see them suffer because they're fucking hungry or because they're smoked from training so much and just so much dedication and shit, like it makes it's a different connection when you're there and you're like, this dude is like, or girl, they're putting everything on the line now that they've been busting their ass for, and like I'm here to like capture
it. Hell yeah. You know?
I
love that.
Hell yeah. Remember.
Hell yeah, man. But like I said, man, I do appreciate your friendship and what we're building, and you know,
thank you.
Respect what you got going on, dude, and all positive things. But appreciate your time, man.
Oh yeah, don't give up.
Right?
Don't quit.
Yeah, whatever you got going, man.
The bump might still be there in front of you. The hurdle might still be there, but if you feel like it's right there, just
keep going.
Keep going.
Get through it, man.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah, man. Thank you so much. Like I said, man, thank you so much for your time. You guys, thank you guys for listening and watching. All of our podcasts are on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. YouTube being my main platform. If you guys want to check me out, I got a bunch of different things going on. If you're watching for the first time, thank you guys for tapping in because of Chris and stuff like that. And keep a lookout for all different conversations. We You know, it's Jimmy Duke's gaming podcast, but we have all different types of awesome people that I'm fortunate to reach out to, you know, spread, you know, some positiveness and some journey and hopefully some information to get you guys, you know, interested in whatever we got going on. But thank you guys so much for your time, man. Thank you again, man. Thank you, bro.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, brother.
Until next time, peace out, homies. Y'all take care.
Thank you, guys.
Hell yeah.